Tim is in the house. Good to see you, Tim. Red Bud Princess, good to see you in the house. Sorry, Red Bull. I was thinking of the trees. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope you guys are all doing great. I'm just getting started and getting caught up here. Let me get everything pulled up so I can read the chat. Oh, I forgot to do that. Crap. Maybe I got something right here. Good to see you. Bailey, how are you? Hope you have a wonderful night. We will. Thank you all for that. Don't forget the thumbs up. I haven't even got my iPad open yet so I can read the chat. Let's see. Bailey's saying dim or us. Not for sure what you mean. Better day, had a bad migraine yesterday. I can kind of relate, man. I've been having some night terrors, some bad nights. Sappy says, hello, hello, hello. So I've been feeling that well myself. Tim? Rick is in the house. Rick, my friend, how are you? Good to see you. Hope you guys can all hear me, see me tonight. How are you doing, Rick? Rick, how are you doing today, my friend? I am exhausted for some reason. Yeah. Sometimes we just get tired in life. Yeah. Rick, how's your day working? Were you working today? Get over here. Everybody say hello to everybody. Remember, if you blew, you're welcome to drop your links. Thank you all for the thumbs up. I hope you had a great day, Rick. Hubba Bubba 1488 says, what's up, big homie? Don't know. What's up with you? That's the question of the day. What is up with you? Thank you all for the thumbs up reminder there. I'm tired and even thought I just woke up. Yeah, I feel like I gotta, I don't know. It was hot. Yeah, it's hot today. Rick, it's very hot. That's why I'm indoors. It's, there's not much of a breeze here right now. You guys all know how much I like to sit outside. But we really just don't have much of a breeze today. So, and I was working on the computer a little bit today. I got so many little things I'm trying to do, here on the internet, on the computer, on the social media concept that, and I was working on a couple of cool things that some of you guys might know about or can help me with. So I'm working on some of that, but yeah, it's 90 degrees here right now, currently. I'm trying to get... There we go. Let me get the cruise in the pack. Greeting from Finland. Hey, we love Finland. Just came from a run. I have to prepare for my military service in the Finnish International Rapid Deployment Forces. We keep the Eastern Front secure. Well, I believe you guys do. I think, I don't know all the history of Finland. I gotta admit. I think Finland's a cool little country. I do know that you guys got a weird history with military. Weird in a good way. I'm not saying weird in a bad way, but weird in a good way. You guys have had to defend your country multiple times from different directions and places during the history of the world. That's good. I think you guys got an interesting military for a small country, a small force. But I think Finland has what they do have is tough. That's what I'll say. All right. So, yeah, I don't know, Tim. I agree with you, man. I kind of, I don't know. I haven't been traveling, but I kind of feel like I got, I don't know, jet lag. But, just trying to get things done, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing, Tim. But thank you all for being here. Thumbs up and we, sometimes we just get tired, right? We gave the Ruskies hell with our German brothers currently in our country of 5.5 million. We have a 280,000 troops. Now, I don't know my Finland history because, look, but I know, didn't you guys go to war against Russia one time right after you went to war with Russia? Wasn't it kind of a weird thing where sides were being flip-flopped back in the day, left and right? Jimmy's in the house. Jimmy says Russia tried to take Finland in WD2, but yeah, that's what I was thinking. There was something going on back then, and Finland held the ground. But I also thought they had a major issue with Germany. Was that World War I? Jimmy's good to see you. Tim says hello to you. I got a brain ache. I really do. I don't want to go to the doctor anymore. I'm tired of going to the doctor. I'm tired of chasing that magical dragon. Don't feel so good the last few days, but I know for me, when I have bad nightmares, which I have a lot due to my coma, that they kind of send you down a rabbit hole, a black hole, a bad hole. Above says they tried to take whole of Finland and we held them. Then so they goofed and only took minor lands, but the Germans started Operation Barbarossa and we went with them on the offensive to take our lands. Nice. See, sometimes the Germans can be good and sometimes, has Russia ever been good? Jimmy says, hello, David, and hello to everybody. Thank you for being here, Jimmy. Thanks all for the thumbs up. Thank you for being a member. Keith is in the house. Keith, how are you today? My house is a little hot. Oh, I forgot to do a couple things. Ken is in the house. You guys all hold on a second. All right, I'm back. All right, we're back. I had to turn the air conditioner down and I have to use the phone to do it. Then I need to put my phone on silent. All right, sorry about that. I forgot to do those things. 10-minute late, yes. Only 10 minutes late this time, not hours. Keith says doing good. Rick says hello to Ken. Hello, Ken. Hello, 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 hello. Everybody saying good. Appreciate that. We like that. You guys got to all subscribe and support each other. I feel like in a way I have a jet lag. When I have nightmares, I don't know, they kind of F up your brain. I don't know if anybody else experiences stuff like that. Russia has never been good. Abba Bubble says, Russia's never been good. You seem like a wonderful guy. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. Appreciate your support. Just like, subscribe, and share. And hit the thumbs up and the alert bell. And come back, man. God bless you and stay strong. Stay with you. You're the one who's doing physical labor. I'm just sitting in a chair. Keith says, hello to everybody, Keith. I am stuck at 754 subscribers. Keith, I'm on my desktop tonight. As you can tell, I'm back in the office. A little hot here. No wind outside. Let's see what's going on with your channel. I think I can get to your channel easily now. Why do you feel like you're stuck? I am your internet know-it-all guru. Let's see if we can help. Well, you want my advice? I can give you some advice. I don't know if it's any good advice or not. I don't know. All right. It's our nature. Little boys always want to F with, big boys always want to F with the little boys. Well, Jimmy, and I know you're a tall guy, right? And I'm not tall anymore. I mean, I used to, I've shrunk and my body's aged and I kind of hunch over. But at one point in time, I bench pressed 400 pounds. I'm a big guy, fat guy, but always big, strong. I guess I carried myself as a larger guy, a big guy. What I found when I was a youngster, little guys always wanted to try to F the big guy in the bars because they wanted to show how tough they were by trying to start something with somebody bigger than them. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that or not, but I had that happen to me a lot. It didn't go so well for them, but I saw it and had it happen to me a lot. All right, let's do this while Keith is here. If you guys get a chance, go to Keith's channel. I'm going to critique his channel and tell him what I think. Not that I'm an expert or I know any damn thing about anything. I barely wear a hat today. But Keith, you're right. I'm on your channel. You got 753 subscribers, 466 videos out there. Follow along as Keith Films Amtrak. Looking at your main page, it looks, here's what the honest truth, and don't get mad, but guys, I will speak the truth. Your page photo, the first thing I see has, crap, hang on. Ahmad, please say, why would that make you happy? Give me a super chat and I'll say the word for you. But anyway, Keith, your picture, your logo, it's not interesting. It looks dull. It looks old. It looks dirty. I know what it is because I actually know trains a little bit. But for somebody who doesn't know anything, it looks like somebody just took a snapshot of some old dirty thing. It doesn't crisp. It's not clean and clear and healthy looking. It's old, drab, and mood looking. The movie Terminator, Arnold the Machine said about humanoids, it's in your nature to destroy each other. Amen to that, man. It is in our nature to do that. It's in our nature to destroy one another, Keith, Jimmy, and everybody else. But more importantly, it's in our nature to destroy ourselves, I think. I think we lie to ourselves all the time. So Keith, just telling you, and then of course, and I don't mean to be a dickhead, but why would I want to watch a channel titled Keith? You need to tell me something, right? You need to come with like, and my title's not perfect, trust me, it sucks dog shit too. But mine shows a little bit of action. Filipino-American couple, the adventures of Pac. The adventures, activity. You want to show active, not just putting a name like Keith. Okay? So that doesn't tell me anything. So that's one thing I would change is I would figure out your layout better, make it look happy. Your layout looks sad. I mean, literally sad, not sad like bad, but just like, gee, that looks sad. So that's something I would be aware of. Then, let me look at your shorts. Now, if you're going to do videos, and here's something I'll say, because I see you got a handful of videos. You're doing your videos in a vertical, not a horizontal. When you do a long video like this, it looks bad on your page. You got to do them. If you're going to do a long video, you have to do them horizontally so they look better on the page. Now they just look like long shorts. And then when you switch to your shorts page, that format is different, so your shorts come back looking normal. I would highly recommend that you try to do a crisper images. There is one image that looks kind of interesting called Amtrak 40, 22 minutes, late to Longwood. Now, unless I'm into trains and understands travel and all of that stuff, one, your titles, I'm not going to have a clue what in the hell you're talking about. But that picture looks pretty good. I can see some crispness in it. The others all look like it's either foggy or late at night and your camera's not adapt. And you scroll down, you got some other pictures. But most of your thumbnails for all of these are the same type of picture. So that might be something you can do is find some better, when you go through your shorts on your phone, you can pick out your own thumbnail. If you got a phone, you can scroll through there and highlight a new thumbnail. So maybe just think about that a little bit. And to be honest, I also think pictures with the humans in it do better than pictures without. So that's just a couple of quick thoughts without getting too deep into anything. All right. Let me get here. Sorry, everybody. Jimmy says, in the movie Terminator, yes, humans, nature destroy each other. Tim, in the States, Big Boy 4014 went on a big excursion cross country for the 4th of July. That would be an interesting title, something like 4th of July excursion with Big Boy 4040 with Big Boy. I'd leave the number off. Pat's in the house. Good evening, Pat. How are you today, buddy? Good to see you. So you got to give me a reason to want to watch your videos. You got to, and I'm not saying I'm good at it. But you need to do that. You need to do a little bit of that. Hello, Patrick. Hello, good to see you, Pat. And says that, Pat, doing good. All right, nice. Tim and I are struggling today. Tim had a bad migraine, and I had some really bad nightmares the last couple of nights, and I think I'm off my game. My head is rattled. My brain is squishy. My brain hurts, My psyche is not good. I'm trying to figure out how to get my psyche back on track. But right now, my psyche is in the ditch or the trash can. Hello, Pat. Good to see you. Thank you all for the thumbs up. So, Keith, I hope you didn't mind. You asked, but I would like everybody to subscribe to Keith's channel. So, Keith, don't be mad. Just remember, happy sells. If you don't have boobs to show, happy sells. Hello, Jimmy. Good to see you. Yes. Oh, man. I don't know. So, needless to say, I got nothing done today. I did make some notes for some things I need to work on. Jimmy says, likewise, Pat, it's good to see you also this morning. I've been looking over my paperwork, Make sure there's no secret information on here. I've been looking over my paperwork for my old beat up fishing truck because I had it serviced the other day, and Firestone, did they not print that out? Were they too chicken to print it out? Oh, I saw it in an email somewhere. Rick is in the house. Rick, yes. Pat, Ken says hello, Pat. Ken, how are you today? What's going on in your world? But anyway, so here's my need for all of you brilliant, wonderful people. Maybe I can pull that up on I got another email somewhere. So Firestone told me my old truck has a rack and pinion leak, right? And it probably does. It's an old truck. Now, this is the first time anybody's ever told me. Now, granted, we don't drive it enough. Shit. Oh, I hate this. The last time I had it serviced before just the other day was like 2.5 or 3 years ago. So I just don't drive it much. You know, I barely got 5,000 miles on it in almost 3 years. So, Pat, how is the fire affecting your family? The rebuilding of the family home, Pat. Tim is asking about the house that burnt down. So they told me my rack and pinion has a leak, and I haven't crawled under the truck to verify this, but I would. And they wanted to fix it. They gave me a quote of like $1,500. Pat says, it's going to take a while, Tim, on the farmhouse. So, Pat, if I remember right, you told me instead of going back to like a 2-story house, they're just going to build a 1-story house, right? So, I was, my mistake was I told Lorelei, just in chat, that, we had a leak in the rack and pinion, and of course, she started Googling it. Now she's hell-bent that I gotta either trade the truck or have it fixed because she's afraid the wheels are gonna fall off and I'm gonna crash and burn and die. I should have never mentioned it. You got it easy, David. My everything leaks. Yeah, I know that, man. Trust me, I know that one. You give me the wrong foods and I leak everywhere, let me tell you. Pat says they took the roof off of the house. They are taking the house down. So they're working on demolition of the house. Right, Pat? Gonna build a regular house. Should I go see Firestone? Probably not. Probably not. You might just need some stop leak. It's gonna take until Christmas. Yes, the rack and pinion will be expensive. Yeah, $1,500 is what they quoted me. Because it has a leak. Now, I asked the guy, well, how much is the leaking? And he's like, he said, you can just tell that it's wet. So I don't know how bad the leak is. I'm going to crawl under there. Look, obviously, it's not too bad because it's not on my driveway. There's no spillage on my driveway, which would make me mad. So, I'll get some other quotes, but I asked him how low the power steering fluid was. And he said, oh, it wasn't very low. So I'm not burning through it, obviously, very fast. So, but the real question to all of you wonderful, brilliant people, $1,500 seems like a lot. Now, I Googled it myself on YouTube. I YouTube a video about how to repair the rack and pinion. I'm not doing it. Look, I can change batteries, but that's about it. There's no way in hell I'm going to try to change the rack and pinion on a truck like mine or anything when I have no tools, I don't have the health for it, and it would just kill me to do. So that ain't going to happen. So what do you guys think? One, is your rack and pinion leaking a big deal? Two, how much do you think you would normally pay to have that fixed, if you know anything about it? Now, apparently mine, and I didn't know this because he was telling me, well, part of the bid or the quote is because they got to replace all of the, power steering fluid. And granted, I'm not a mechanic, never wanted to be one. I don't really like getting my hands dirty. You guys probably have figured this out. I have a weird thing about my hands. But he said, well, let me break down the cost. He said, it's going to be like $23 in power steering fluid. And I'm like, power steering fluid? Why would you replace the power steering fluid? He's like, well, because when we fix the leak and switch it out, it's going to all drain out. And I'm like, what? He's like, well, your power steering pump provides the fluid to the rack and pinion. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I had no clue. I didn't know that. I didn't think I didn't know that's how that worked. I thought the power steering pump gave power or energy or fluid to the gearbox, the steering thing, the big chunky metal thing. But what do I know? So it's leaking. Oh. And then thinking about my old beat up truck, the tint is no good on it anymore, so I need to have all the tint stripped off and new tint put on. That's $300 or $400. And then the two back doors, remember how trucks have a front door and they open up and they got these little back doors, half doors? Well, my truck's old. Those little plastic keepers that when you pull it and it opens up the door have snapped off. So you can't open up my two back doors. I need to get those fixed. I haven't got a quote on those. And so I was discussing this with Lorelai, which I shouldn't have done. It's like, oh, well, maybe you should just buy a newer base model truck. And here's the funny thing. She's like, oh, well, they got like the Ford Mavericks or a Ranger or whatever. You can get them, fairly cheap. They're just work trucks. She doesn't know really what. And since you don't drive it much, that should be just fine. And and I'm sitting here thinking, I don't want to drive a work truck. If I'm going to drive a newer truck, it better be nice. I don't want crappy seats and plastic roll-up windows and, am I wrong? Yeah, you could buy like a brand new Ford Ranger for $30,000, kind of the stripped down model, right? But who would want it? Am I wrong? Do we as humans not want, it's what I told her. And I'm like, why would, because we were talking about this when we were going somewhere. And I'm like, I don't know why I would buy that. That doesn't make any sense to buy something that is lesser grade trim level than the current thing I have, which I could probably put $3,000 to $4,000 in and fix it and just keep driving it until I can't drive it anymore, versus spending $25,000 more and buy some truck that maybe is a lot newer, but doesn't have anything nice. I don't like that. I don't know. Am I wrong for my thought process? If you're gonna buy something, don't you want to buy something nice? And I told her in the car, and she's like, well, I don't understand why guys always want a really nice truck. She's like, I don't understand this. And I said, well, think of it like this. Don't you think men want beautiful women to marry? She's like, well, yeah. Trucks are the same way. We want a beautiful truck. We don't want some plain Jane piece of crap truck. We don't want a piece of shit ugly wife, right? So we're come on, it's the same thing. Am I wrong? A truck and a wife, Big John says, hello. Everybody say hello to John. John, how are you today, buddy? So, but am I wrong in my thought? Like, why would I spend, why would I get an ugly wife? A truck wife. Wifey truck wife? Hello, John Patrick says. So what do you guys think? Am I wrong? If you were going to buy something, wouldn't you want maybe not the nicest of the nice, like a Lariat, or big high country or whatever the hell they're calling these things, versus, the LT, the light truck model, or the WT, the work truck model? Pat says, hello to you, Brother John, because Merca baby. I don't know if I know what that is. Merca. Let me Google that word. All right. What do you mean by that, Jimmy? I'm Googling it, but I'm not finding anything on Google. What do you mean by that? But, I don't know. I mean, I really don't want to buy anything, and we're not. But I thought it was interesting that, I told her, and I asked her about that. I said, you guys, all of you girls think it's funny when some guy marries an ugly chick. The girls think this. All the Filipinos run around going, yeah, man, he married an ugly girl. She's from the country, or she's from the city, or she's from here, she's from there. They make ugly girls there. And I'm like, so, pickup trucks are Americans' baby. Ah, yes. Oh, America, I got you. Yes, well, they are. I'm tired, a hard day. John, you had a hard day? Tim and I did too. Tim's had a rough day. I've had a rough day. I don't know about Pat. Pat's probably, had a rough day. Ken was in here earlier. So what was hard about your day? John, what was hard about your day? I know what was hard about mine. Mine's all psychological. My brain is I guess you call it your brain. My brain is screwing with me. I don't like it, but I can't do anything about it right now. I need to have brain surgery, so. So I told Lorelai, I said, given a choice, who do you think a dude's gonna want to date? An ugly chick? Or, not an ugly chick. But it doesn't really matter. We're going to try to retire to Alabama or Florida next year. I'm not going into debt or spending any money that I don't have to until I make that happen. Now, will I repair my truck? Probably down the road, but not right now. Patrick says he's cooking fried potatoes and pork chops and applesauce. Can you guys, if you can guess or tell me where pork chops and applesauce became famous, I'll send you a topless photo of myself. Pork chops and applesauce. You guys remember that as we grew up? So I did pay, in case you want to know, a total of $74.97 for an oil change in my truck tire rotation was free because I bought the tires from them. My truck can't be aligned perfectly, but I have them realign it every time I'm there because I have the free alignment. You learned a new project. Ooh, I like that. You mean like project management stuff? Or tell me a little bit more. We're big into projects. I've done so many projects, it blows my brains out. Spinach, you don't like. That is correct. I am not a fan of cooked spinach. I don't mind raw leafy spinach like in a salad. I don't mind that. Applesauce and pork chops. Where did that become famous? There's a TV show that's how that became famous in American culture. Mike and Venus, which is young Michael, is in the house. Good to see you. Good to see you, young man. I do like, spinach and salads, like garden salads. I do. But cooked spinach, I think that's disgusting. Pat says hello to you. I did get my insurance bill for the 6 months in the email the other day. My car insurance for both cars went down $10. So we feel like we won the lottery. My insurance went down $10. Woohoo! Hello, Patrick says Michael, Mike and Venus. Yes. So that's my question. I don't remember what it was, but that's the question. But yeah, I got a brain bleed or something going on. I have these nightmares from my coma, and I'm working. Maybe part of it. Mike is here. Mike. I'm glad you're here. I've been working on redoing the videos about my coma because I think mentally, and maybe I'm not, I'm prepared to write a book or to write it down, to do something new and fresh with it. So we're talking with Mike a while back and one of his friends, Mika, and I guess I didn't realize this, but I guess you guys can do on Word like voice to text. So meaning you could talk like now and it would type it all out for you. And I got videos, and this is my technical difficulty. There's a couple things I want to know if anybody has information about this. One, I want to know how to make my phone, when I live stream, read the chat for me. Two, and I tried it today, Mike, was I did that and I played my goal was, I got the Word document set up all ready to go. I played the video and had my speakers on, hoping that my microphone would be able to pick it up and type it into a text format. Did not work. If I spoke, it worked just fine, but it wasn't, for some reason, picking up the video. There you go. Tell Lorelai the insurance will go up $600, and it would, right? It would, and she will get you to buy anything new. Yeah, exactly. And of course you're right. Jimmy, your carrying costs. Woof. Because we have pretty. I got a. I don't know what is my truck. Does anybody know what year my truck is? Do you guys remember? I got like a really old Dodge Dakota. I don't know how much my insurance, but it's cheap. I bought a brand new or a newer, insurance, poof, more money. And then of course she has to pay that, her half, we split the insurance 50-50. So if my insurance goes up, then hers goes up. I'm just telling you, it's the way it is. No more Louis Vuitton purses for you. So, thinking about how to get my Word document to listen to my video and to record it or to type it, I'm going to try some experiments. Tomorrow, I'm going to pull up my iPad, put the video on its own speakers, because I think that's the problem. You have competing devices. You can't do a video and the computer is competing with itself. So I'm going to grab the iPad, I'm going to turn it on, put it in front of the microphone, and see if it will type what the iPad says. My goal. Does anybody know about any of this? I don't know. All right, since you guys all didn't know, I will tell you. Applesauce and pork chops became famous on the show called The Brady Bunch. Do you guys remember The Brady Bunch? Pork chops and applesauce was one of their episodes. Pork chops and applesauce, please. I think one of the kids had dental work or something, or Alice, the maid, was doing something. I don't know, but somehow you guys don't remember pork chops and applesauce. Or at least that's the history I remember. Try using the AI, a chatbot, to listen to the video and to describe it for. Yeah, and I'm thinking about that too. What I was, and I got that, Mike, I know you said that the other day, the AI chatbot. And I did in my studies find that I guess there's other software that you can buy or pay subscriptions to that do all this fancy stuff for all of this, but I don't want to. If I have to, I'll just redo it verbally myself. But I'm hoping I can save time, energy, and stress by just letting the Word document listen to my recording. So I'm going to try some new things tomorrow and see if it works. And my backup plan is the AI stuff. But I think, talking about working on this, doing some of this stuff, my brain, it's brought back the nightmares. Summer Panay is in the house. Good to see you, young lady, I'm assuming. And, you never know these days, but hello, good morning from the Philippines, I guess you are. Do you have a YouTube channel, which I think you probably do? Let me check you out. How are you today? How are things in the Philippines? Are you in the Philippines? She's in Australia. She's in Australia. She has 893 subscribers. Looks like she lives in Australia with her family. She's got some cooking videos, some food videos, tourism stuff. Very nice, very nice. You guys can check her channel out. They seem to like to drink a little, which is good. They got some birds and fruit. Excellent. I will subscribe to your channel later on today. Later on. You guys all say hello to Summer. Good. Patrick, you subscribed to her a while back. Thank you for doing that. Very nice of you. Very, very nice. I did get Lorelei's battery taken back to Walmart and got my core charge. Hello, Summer Renee. Good to see you, young lady. Hello, Summer from Mike. So, Mike, what have you been doing today? I know Big John was saying he was having a rough day because he's learning new stuff. And Tim had a bad migraine, so he's getting over that. Jimmy is being Jimmy. So Pat is having pork chops. Pat dropped his link, so you guys check his out if you guys want to do that. Don't forget the thumbs up. So that's one thing I'm working on. I got a bunch of videos I'm working on too. And so here's something I want to ask, and I know I may be tipping my hat, which is okay because, it's good to do. Pat says, my channel is Pat's Philippine Dreams. All are welcome to subscribe. Did some cleaning, took out the trash. Me too, today's Monday. Monday is my trash day. I didn't enjoy it. I usually enjoy taking out the trash, but my brain's in a bad place and I did not enjoy taking out the trash today. Then cooked stuffed bell peppers, so just rationing and digesting it right now. I like stuffed bell peppers. I do. I think it's, depending on what you put in it, I like the pork in it versus the beef. So we like that. John Taylor is saying, hello, Summer. So John, your day was going pretty good. Have you chatted with the girlfriend today? John, and let's see. Rick was in the house earlier. He said he had a busy day because he was working, and Rick is still here. So how many of you people had to actually do some real work today? I mean, okay, and you can not have a job. You can be one of the retired people. But anybody in here, raise your hand if you had to do real work today. Real work, you know what I mean? Monday, same here. I had to let the trash build up because the dumpsters we have is full. Ugh. I mean, cookie stuffed peppers, they are delicious. Well, Pat, we've been waiting on it, but, here we are, Pat. Pat always says he's going to cook us something good, and here we are, having trail mix. Just saying, Not pointing the fingers. And Ken says, Yepers, you just tell me and I will be there. I'll come to visit in Arkansas and cook you a big meal. Good. I'll hold you to it, buddy. Yes. Well, maybe that's something we ought to do in Branson. Maybe we'll maybe we'll rent an Airbnb and have a kitchen. Big John says, nah, it's too early. Haven't chatted with the girly friend yet today, I don't think. This is where I was going with that. And I know a lot of people think I'm nuts, which is okay. I'm doing my series about how to grow your YouTube channels in the morning, how to take old principles and put it into a new context. And in the concept, I come up with a lot of questions to myself. And so here's one of my questions. And one of the things I'm thinking about. Does anybody think that a Filipinas girl community, like if you live in the United States, your wife is here, they do meet Filipinas, and they all kind of get together. They get a little group together. Here where we live, we got 2 or 3 different groups, and they all hate each other. Or they're all whatever. So my question is, do you guys think, even in the Philippines, that a Filipinas group is toxic? Because I'm actually going to make some videos on this. I'm going to do a little talking head stuff on some of this. So do we think that the community, not the individuals, and not 1 or 2 people when they're together, but the larger community is toxic? That's what my question to you guys are. I don't know how many of you guys have experienced that, but we've experienced very large, semi-large, and small communities. So I'm just curious what you guys think. Are Filipinas community toxic? Like Northwest Arkansas, Phil-Am, Dallas, Texas's group, or within those big groups like in Orlando and Dallas, they have a lot of subgroups. And I just wonder. I wonder if, and I guess where I go with that, I wonder if it's better to keep your wives and girlfriends I don't want to say isolated because that's the wrong word, but I think it's great to expose them to their own culture in a foreign country. So here in America, right? I highly encourage Lorelai to eat Filipino food and go to the things any she wants to go to. But I also think that comes with a risk factor along with that. And there's different things about that. Different risk or outcomes that can be negative in a situation like that. And I got a list of things I'm working on. So I just thought I would throw that out and ask, in your experiences, do you think that? Do you think the girl community of the Filipinos are toxic? Because we got some things going on now that aren't super upsetting, they're disappointing. And it kind of comes from that community, that temperament of these communities. No, more good comes out than bad. We are social animals. We will group up regardless. Oh, that's a good point. I agree with you. We are social beings and we do group up. But the group mentality is kind of where I'm going with this. Is it wise to get into a group unchecked? And what's your motivation behind getting in that group? Summer is back saying, hello, bro. Good to see you. Dennis, backstabber, Filipino women. Dennis, good to see you. Everybody say hello to Dennis. Dennis, hello to Summer. Summer is getting around and saying hello to Big John, Mike, and Dennis. Summer is in Australia, I do believe. Am I right, Summer? So we are social creatures, but my personal opinion, remember, I've been around the Filipino girls community since I was about 18 years old. Now, I've only been married to Lorelei for however many thousands of years, but not that long. So I've been around the community a lot. Hi, Summer, Winter. Yeah, mate, I am down in the Philippines, Australia, which is a 4-hour flight, I think, from the Philippines. So it seems like Dennis says, yes, it's cold today, been raining. Yeah, Australia is wintertime, I guess, which I didn't realize until the other day. Hello, Brother Dennis. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. But the group mentality is like the Lord of Flies. Have you guys ever watched the movie Lord of Flies or read the book? Man, that book, that story, there's a new movie out. There's a remake of the Lord of Flies out there, by the way. Not very old, a couple years old. You're 8 hours from the Philippines? I didn't realize it was that far. Maybe it's 4 hours from Korea. Maybe it's 4 hours from Korea. And hello to you, Patrick. And you guys can all subscribe to each other. Summer, would you like me to turn you blue so that you can drop your link? I checked your channel out. Let me find you again. Let me drop her. Let me change her so she can drop her own personal link. Or his. Is it the oh, wait a minute. I got to remember how to do this. Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. Hang on. Sorry. So, Summer, I'm asking, are you because I got a feeling you're married with kids, right? So, is this Mrs. or Mr.? That way we know. Because I don't want to misgender or whatever. There we go. Give me a second. I was on the wrong page. All right, that should get you taken care of, Summer. And like I said, so you're the wifey. My wife is also the wifey. She's at work now, slaving away, trying to earn enough money to buy another purse. So, absolutely, you're welcome to drop your link. I have rules which are real simple. If you're blue, you don't have to ask me permission to drop your link ever. Just come in and drop your link. It doesn't bother me. You're not going to offend me. It's always nice to say hello first, but other than that, it's kind of like, But so, yeah, that's something I'm working on, or I thought about as I study on how to make our channels better in the mornings. How to actually, be somebody. Because, yes, I miss being important in my own little micro world. Anytime, happy to do it. You guys all subscribe to her. She'll subscribe back to you. You guys make sure you like, subscribe, and share to my channel. Because that's what's really important. sorry. But the, where I was going with that, the group mentality, the mob mentality. I want to tell you a story. I got to be careful how I do it, but I do got a decent example of this. I got a friend, and I know, our world is so damn sensitive these days. Say hello to you, Big John. Good to see you. And everybody in here, mostly, not everybody, but we get a lot of people in here that are related to the Philippines in one way, shape, or form. Whether they live there, they're married here, friends, whatever it may be. We have a lot of that. Then hello to Dennis. No, we are in the United States currently. We've lived in the Philippines, but we currently live in the U.S. We own land and stuff in the Philippines, but I think at this point in time in life, unless something dramatically changed, my wife doesn't want to live in the Philippines. I don't either because I find it too boring, to be honest. I find the Philippines extremely boring. But with medical, travel, all the stuff that, a first world country brings you, I think she would prefer to live here. I know she'd prefer to live here. Ken says, Summer, I connected to you a while back. Thank you for doing that, Ken. We appreciate that. We do. We do. I do. She does. So thank you for that. But let me tell you a story. And I found this is something, and this was probably, 20 years ago when I was told this story. So I have a young man. He's not old. He's not young. Tim says, I'm back now. I'm good. Thank you, Tim. We appreciate you. Everybody say hi to Tim. So the guy that married Lorelai and I became a mentor of mine. All right. So, and God, I hate how I got to say some of this. So when I was still teaching, when I taught college, and I did a lot of consulting work, and I taught at different schools and universities part-time or, one class, and I did this. I worked with the state government and federal government, federal OSHA, and the State Department of Labor a lot. A lot. Yeah, let's see. Thank you so much, Ken. I am back. Summer Monet, you are very welcome. That's correct. Yes. So the guy that I met that taught me the lesson about, I learned so much from, so he wound up becoming a mentor. He's a preacher in Southern Arkansas. He's retired now. He was a preacher then. And I'm not talking about him teaching me about the Bible or anything like that. He actually wrote a book a while back. I bought it on Amazon, read it. It was okay. So, but Clark was his name, or is his name. And the area director for OSHA was named Carlos Reynolds. And I remember when he first took over for the old regional director for OSHA, Paul Hansen, that people up here in White, Northwest Arkansas, was shocked because poor old Carlos had cornrows in his head when he would come up here. And oh my God, the white people here, oh my God, how unprofessional. Well, I had to tell them all to kind of just shut up. Hello, Tim. I just realized that I've been in the Philippines 14 years. Yeah, you had an anniversary a couple weeks ago, Tim. You've been there a long time. One of the longest running expats besides, somebody, Bud Brown comes back. You do your job. There are a few of you guys, and there are one guy, I know one guy who follows me, he doesn't have a channel, that he spent 25 years in the Philippines. So he has spent, many, many years. But he follows and checks in once in a while and makes fun of me. That's pretty much what he does. He comes in and makes fun of me. So my friend, the white America, the white Northwest Arkansas, the white rich community we live in, was all offended by Carlos and his cornrows, which I thought was funny. So, but as time went along, I became friends, of course, with Carlos. Good guy, super good guy. And my friend Clark, and others of non-white color. Let's say it that way, because everybody gets mad. But one day, I was chit-chatting, and I don't know, it came up, we were all a couple of us were chatting. Me, I think one other white guy, and a couple of non-white guys, and one was Carlos and Clark. And we're at a conference, so it's all business. It's a professional environment. We're here at this conference. He's presenting, I'm presenting, whatever it may be, and we're just shooting the shit, right? And somehow we got on the topic of knowing your target audience, dumbing things down to your target audience if you have to. And then what I observed a little bit earlier than that, I saw that when there's other people there, really smart, intelligent people of non-white color, when they all got together, it seemed like their IQs dropped 20%. They seem to be even brilliant minds. And they started it's kind of like the Filipinas. When they all get together, the bullshit starts to fly, their voices raise and raise and raise, and they're all talking over each other. Well, what I observed was this group seemed to be, they stopped pronouncing words properly and used slang when they got together. And then as soon as somebody of a different perspective, mine, walk in, their educational level came back. And Clark told me, because I was asking Clark, because him and I were really close. I said, what happened was he saw me watching this and he knew that I was like, and he told me, he's like, no, it's one of the most frustrating things there is when you get a group of highly intelligent people together of like minds, of behavior, of color, economics, ergonomic, I don't care, whatever, environmental, geographical, all together. It seems like they lower themselves. So they all want to not be the pompous ass in the group, so to speak. Now, and I talked to we talked about that, and he told me that was one of my two friends who are higher up in the world. So that was one of the most disappointing things about people that they know was that they would do this instead of staying professional. And they didn't know how to fix it. They couldn't fix it. All they could do is encourage each other to be professional. So it's kind of like with the women, the Filipino women thing. So I wonder, I know that they talk over each other. And they all think each other's stupid. They all think, these things. And because I watch and observe. And so I guess my thought about some of this is, why do they even get together? Why do Filipino girls like to get together with other Filipino girls? And I'm going to make a video about this. So I got that coming out here soon. Tim says, hello, Michael. Good to see you. Michael had trash day today, too. So I'm working on some of that. But anyway, I know that's going down a rabbit hole. Status, yeah. It's just rabbit hole shit, Dennis. But anyway, I saw where Lindsey Graham passed away over the weekend. We all know that. It's hot here. It's dry here. Mowing should stop. I shouldn't have to pay the mowing guy $60 a week for at least a couple of weeks. Put some money back into my pocket. But what are you guys up to? What are you guys doing? What are you working on? What can I fix? What can we, as a group, fix for you guys? I'm thinking of that as a group. When we all get together in Branson, Missouri on October the 3rd, I hope our IQs don't drop 20 points. I think that's where I was going with that. I was wondering where I was going, but maybe I was going down that road. When we get together in October, hello, Tim and all. Dennis says hello. So, Dennis, what have you been up to? Any exciting news for you? Any latest arm candy going on for you? Oh, Michael, if you're still in here, if you're listening, hey, and I guess I'll have to say this. For all of you guys that know Keith, who comes in with the trains, earlier, I think I offended him greatly because he was here earlier and he kind of asked my opinion about his channel and I told him, and he hasn't been back. So if you guys see Keith somewhere, tell him nothing what I told him was personal but professional. So I may have offended poor old Keith. You only have 20 points? You had 20 IQ points? I believe it, man. Living in the Philippines makes people less smart, usually. Ah! Well, that's a great question. Wow. You know, my brain, that works cool. There's a lot of downstream on that one. Living in the Philippines make people less smart. I would agree. I felt like I was getting dumber living in the Philippines. I wasn't using my brain, to be honest. And I was drinking more. I wasn't using my brain. And that drove me nutty. Not that I'm smart or anything like that, but now, if you flip that, and as Summer still here, Summer, you're in the Australia land. Do you feel like living in a foreign country? Because this is what I asked my wife sometime, and I got to be proud of my wife. My wife is doing something very special, not buying another purse, thank God, but she's doing something that I'll tell you guys about later on down the road that we all will be very proud of. So the question is, Tim, everybody, and I'd love to have your opinion. If living in a place like the Philippines make you dumber, does living in a first world country make you smarter if you're from like the Philippines? So has it made my wife smarter? Has it made Summer smarter living in Australia? What do you guys think? My wallet was getting abused there. Need an abuse hotline for that. I would agree. And maybe we should set that up. Does anybody want to help me set up a 1-800 I am abused by a Filipina hotline? We can do that. People tend to adapt to their local environments. And that's what this group of men who are educated, and I'm talking about better education than me. You're talking about a lawyer, a government lawyer, now a lawyer in this small group of men, and other very well educated, very well trained people. But man, they got together and it's like their IQs dropped. And they're adapting to the lowest member of their community, the lowest member of their group, right? That's what I think. You know, that's what I think. I don't know if I'm right or not, but Tim says yes, they adapt to the local people. They do, and I had a hard time with that. I'll tell you honestly. I hate to say this, because when I was in the Philippines, I didn't want to talk to Americans, because I think Americans said, Tim, no offense, please don't be offended. I think most Americans, except for Tim, that live in the Philippines are not the brightest people. They're not very interested. Mike, forgive me, but you guys all know what I mean. You guys all run into expats in the Philippines that you meet them and go, I don't like you, and I wouldn't, if we were in America, I wouldn't have anything to do with you. You're an idiot, right? We run into those expats in the Philippines that are idiots. So I think there's a lot of that happens in the Philippines from an expat standpoint. There are the exception. I'll say Tim. I don't know about Mike. We'll put Mike in the other corner. But you know what I mean, right? I'm sure you guys have all experienced that. I've met a couple of expats at the different trips we've been on when we lived there, and I'm just like, one, I thought, now I know why you don't live in America. But two, I'm thinking I feel sorry for the people you're around here in the Philippines. It is. And I just got done rewatching that movie. If anybody wants to know, the movie Idiocracy, is that the right name? Is on Temu. Temu, the free videos, that movie's on there. I just got done rewatching it a couple weeks ago. So if you want to watch the movie, and that's the one where one of the the Wilson boys, and somebody else did an experiment, and they went into cryogenics, and then they woke up 500 or 600 years in the future, and Gatorade was the drink of the choice, and the country became dumb as rocks because the dumb people kept breeding and the smart people quit breeding. And so, you know, that's on Temu, by the way. Pretty soon the lowest IQ becomes the highest in the group. I agree. Is that okay? I think it is. And I think that's partly what happens in your Filipina communities when you're in a country. I think it happens in the Philippines, but probably not as much because I think the women in the Philippines are too busy trying to make a living, working. Here in America, they got money to blow, a lot of them, or they think they got money to blow. They got an ego, they got a peacock, all of that stuff. And so I do think, I don't know if it comes down with them to the lowest IQ, but they all, I don't know, like maybe Dinah says, it's all about bragging rights. So I don't know. Old Head One says Filipinas are noxious. Why? Tell me how. Explain your comment. Give us some supporting that. We love supporting evidence. So give us some examples. Would be great. I got another video about something else I'm thinking about. I got so much shit going on in my brain since I'm having nightmares again that it's not good because I got a lot of shit in my head and it's not good. Tim says, honestly, I feel dumber now than I was when I first got here. Now, do you mean in the live stream or do you mean in the Philippines? Now, Tim, I'll give you credit because I know you're a smart boy. Part of it is you've been there 14 years and you've aged, right? So how does age factor into that? They overtalk everything, okay? And they just bounce off walls. You mean verbally? So are you saying like they beat a dead horse or are they literally talking over each other? The talking over of each other in a dinner setting drives me crazy. Louder and louder and louder and louder, and nobody's listening to anybody, but they're all screaming, but they're talking. They don't think anybody's, they're not mad, they're not upset, they're not angry, but they're not also listening to anybody when they do that, right? We all know this. So is that what you mean? Dennis thinks environment over age. Dennis, I would agree with you. I believe that. I've always believed that. As an educator, or former educator, I've always believed environment is the key. Bad environment, bad things. Good environment, good things. All right. So, Head, thank you for being here. Yeah. Thank you for the thumbs up and subscribing, liking, sharing, all that. They do. And that's irritating. Now, but we know that about them. Now, a lot of guys who have not been to the Philippines, or maybe they're just now getting into the dating world with a Filipina, they don't realize that until maybe they get them home on a K-1 visa and they get married and the girl meets a bunch of Filipinas and they come over to your house and then hell breaks loose. You think hell's breaking loose. Tim says, back. I will let you decide if it's the chat where I got dumber or the location. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. But I'm not picking on Filipinas. I'm just talking about human behavior. I've been thinking about human behavior a lot. My nightmares coming out of my coma, the fact that I'm rehashing my coma to try to do something positive with it is effing up my brain. And so coming out of that and the fact that I'm trying to build my channel, try to teach and relearn and grow all of y'all's channels, all of our groups, my brain is kicked into headache gear. Well, and I agree with that. Old heads, yeah, they all think they can sing. They all do think they are karaoke and queens. And we have a big karaoke system here at the house. And my God, I hate karaoke. I hate karaoke even, period. I don't like karaoke. I'm not That, yeah. Now, what, are you married, old head? Are you married to a Filipina? Because it sounds like you might be married to one. So they do have a really bad habit of thinking they're Mariah Carey or somebody like that. And they love to sing the same song. I don't know how many times I've heard karaoke version of Hotel California. I couldn't tell you. If I had $1 for every time I've heard Filipinas karaoke Hotel California, well, I would be so rich, I wouldn't be on the internet e-begging for a future, groveling to try to grow a channel to make it into something. My God. I would agree. And I said this the other day on our live stream, not about Filipinos, but I agree that I don't see. I had some nuts today. Now, and I give an example because we talked about how these channels are so popular, like these monk. I think I'm gonna see if I pronounce this right, everybody. Is it Monk Bomb? The videos where the girls are just shoveling food down their throat, then they turn around and puke it all up, and they just keep shoveling shit down their throats. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of watching people behave like a pig. I'm not a fan of that. And when Lorelai first came to America and all that, she's like, oh, well, I can make those. And I told her, no, you're not going to make those. I don't like that. I don't want you doing it on video. So Old Head was in the Hey Evie. I could have guessed that with the name of your channel. Old Head, like the old bathroom. Navy for a long time. I'm not a fan either. Yes, they sound like a cartoon Tasmanian devils. Like they do. But chewing, so I'm not big into those channels. I don't like it. I find it disgusting. So, and I've been in a lot of conferences, a lot of training sessions, a lot of classrooms, and I've been in a lot of places where we eat and we talk. We know we're doing business and we all came from somewhere. They bring in lunch. We actually just sit around the table, eat lunch, and talk business, right? Been in those meetings lots. But what I would teach my young students, and I've tried to teach Lorelai, is if you have to eat with other people and you're talking, not just being quiet, which Filipinos can't be quiet when they eat, even when they eat, they're loud, and most people are this way, that you take very small bites, put it in your mouth, you chew with your lips closed, you swallow it, then you speak. You don't need to take the whole pork leg and shove it down your throat and try to talk. So I've taught that to my college students over the years. It's one of my little things that I would do when I would talk about professional conduct. That was one of the things I threw in there about professional conduct. This is not picking on Filipinos. This is in general. I see Filipinos do that in other countries. Yeah, well, they do. They just, But a lot of people do that. I mean, people in India does it. A lot of people do. And I don't know if it's just we are we pompous asses? Maybe that's what we are. Tim says, I don't like the mukbang. Is it bang or bong? I know it's with an A, but I don't know if you pronounce it like O or A, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. It's gross and rude. And I know, and that's part of it. Do we have an obligation to teach better? We do. I have, we've all talked about this issue concerning the Philippines and other countries about leaving food out. There's no way I'm going to eat anything that's been left out on the counter for hours. The other day, Lorelai, it's last Sunday, Sunday before last, we had some friends over that brought their baby over. And we cooked, and Lorelai made some Filipino dishes, and they ate a whole bunch of it, but there's still some left over. She never put it in the refrigerator. She left it sealed up on the stove. I got up the next morning and realized, well, shit, you never put this food away. And he's like, oh, it's all right. Just boil it and I'll eat it for lunch. And I'm just like, so she ate a serving of it and then I threw the rest of it away. Maybe their foods are part of their pronunciation of many foods. Maybe. I don't know. So I do think we can teach everybody how to do that. But look, I don't know why we're going down this road. So I don't know how we got down this road. But Ohead said he was in the Navy. We got a lot of military guys in our channel that follows us. So thank you for being part of the military service. I don't know. Would it be appropriate to tell a group of Filipinas to lower their voices? Now, I tried to do that with my wife on the phone. And my wife will be on the phone with one of her girlfriends from the Philippines, one of her longtime friends. And especially in the car, and talking to somebody, and it just gets more elevated, and I've had to tell her to quieten it down. Because one, I'm driving a car. I need to concentrate and look and listen to what's going on with me driving the car. So I don't need a loud all around me. Plus, to be honest, with my PTSD from the coma, I have a problem with things. I do. And loud noises is one of them. So chaos is, and when I'm trying to drive and you're focused and you're figuring out where you're going, making sure you're not speeding, making sure the cop's not coming to kill you, all of these things you're doing, and then it's very loud, I can't handle it. And we had a group of them in the car one time, and I almost killed us all because they were so loud. I almost pulled out right in front of a truck because I couldn't focus on what the hell I was doing. So when my wife and I, when she, I've had to get her to lower the voice. No, take it down a notch. You're right here. I can hear you. It's okay. I don't need to hear you. I don't grade their English. I will correct them. I am not a teacher to grade them. I would agree. I don't grade them either, and I don't correct anybody that doesn't want to be corrected. My wife is trying to work on her accent and pronunciation because she's in the business world and she's doing very well. So she's actively trying better. She is, which I'm very proud of her for because I think it takes a lot to say, I need to improve upon this. But I will try to, when she says something, if I know what she means, because sometimes the word is like, and I got to sit there and go, I'm trying to find a whole bunch of other words that she's saying that will help me understand what she's saying versus the one word, because I don't know. And so once I figure out, do you mean automobiles or whatever it may be? The word that you're saying, is this what you mean? Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. No, that's not what you're saying. You're saying what sounds like this, but what you mean is automobiles, So, but she asked, she wants that done. But some other Filipina, I would never do that to. I would just let them do whatever they're doing. So I don't correct any of them except for my wife. And that's because we've talked about it, and she knows that, she wants to be more professional. She wants to do a better job in her professional environment, which I think is outstanding to do. And I've encouraged her just to slow down, don't get so hyped up, slow down. And I've also told her at work, which I think she does really well at work with this, don't raise your voice at work. You can't do what you guys do at the dinner table, you can't do in an American job. You can't do that. So, I don't know. But back to that, I do find a lot of it interesting. Got a lot of people walking outside my house today. So what else is going on in the world of life? That's what I wonder. A lot of hearts are being popped up. Oh, man. So I guess they're going to do a big funeral service for Lindsey Graham. We still don't know if Mick McConnell is alive, I guess. We don't know who's going to take Lindsey Graham's seat. I know Trump has recommended his sister. I don't know. The governor, I guess, has to appoint that, so not the president. So I don't know what's going on with that. Gas is still the same price it's been in America. It's not going up or down. It's kind of frozen. So nothing there. Food costs have come down a little bit, but they're about the, I like that. Tim says, if a person wants to be outstanding in the field, I hope they are farmers. That's right. Because a human, and I know where you're going with this, Tim, one, the pun on a field, farmer, field. But two, if you're a human standing out in the middle of a field, you definitely would stand out because you're the only human there amongst all of the soybeans, right? So that's a double one there. I don't know. But I like my wife to talk to her friends back in the Philippines more than I like her to talk to the girls here in America. One, the girls in the Philippines can't really do a whole lot here. They can't cause too much chaos because they're not here. But the girls here can cause a lot of chaos. They have so much drama in their lives. And they want to tear everybody down. It's that crab mentality. I will say that my dog, Lily, is in trouble. My dog, Lily, is in the doghouse. She's been a bad dog. She's a bad dog. Go lay down somewhere and leave me alone. She is standing out for bad behavior. And I am today working on trying to correct that bad behavior. So we'll see how well I do with my poor dog, Lily, who's behaving badly. You can go away now. You can go somewhere else. You don't need to be in here. But what do I know? All right. So what else is going on in y'all's world? Are Filipino communities toxic? I don't know. Maybe. I did decide, I did the thing about the ceiling fans in my garage, those lights. I think I told somebody else they're not worth the money. Don't buy those. Buy something else. Don't buy what I did a video on. Not very good. They don't move enough air. The light fixture's really good, but you could do that a different way. So. Tim says, I wouldn't take my girlfriend to the States. I don't want her to become Americanized. Yeah. And Tim, I've been working on a thing, about westernization of Filipinos and Asians. And, thinking of that, I had somebody make a comment on a video I did a long time ago about prenups, who I guess he didn't get the gist of my video, which is okay. But he basically said prenups, he basically kind of, said, you're stupid because prenups aren't any good in the Philippines. But I guess he missed the point when I was talking about being in America. So, even though, I guess you got to really measure things, Tim, and everybody else. Would it be better to to keep them in the Philippines or Thailand or wherever versus coming to America? I think that's a question all of us have to resolve. I think, to be honest, every man I know that their wife is here in America has the same sentiment as Tim and myself to a point, that they truly wish they need to be in America because you can make more money and a better life in America, right? There's no question. The standard of living is different, freedom is different, a lot of things are different here. So is it better to live in the United States for most people? Probably. But with that, you are going to get a negative result, I do believe. Over time, Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe in the Philippines, they're greedy and selfish too. You know, they have that mentality. It's already there ingrained upon them. But when they come to the United States or Australia or Germany, because I know some couples from Germany, I agree with Tim. And Dennis knows this and feels this. It opens up a gigantic can of worms, and you got to be really careful. And I made a lot of mistakes with my wife. I'll tell you point blank, I made a lot of mistakes. If I knew what I knew today, I would do things differently. So, not that I'd get rid of her or not marry her or anything like that, but there's a lot of things we would have done differently. But hindsight's 2020. So I do have, and this is part of the drama, we know a couple. And I've been trying to give him the advice gently that the fact that he brought his Filipina to America, her head, I told him before she got here, that her head is going to swell gigantically. It's going to blow up. Her personality, I could tell when I met her, her personality is the type that, you know, the bragging rights, as Dennis said earlier, about everything. And she does have a job here, and she makes pretty good money. So, but her head is getting bigger and bigger. And what I worry about, and I know I can't do anything about it, is that our friend who married her is going to be dragged, because he's going to be dragged down a road that he's not going to be happy with when he gets there. Now, we all know this because we've been there, done that, right? We've been pat nose, we've been dragged down a road and went, well, shit, this didn't work. This road was not a good path to go. And we do it in the spirit of, hey, we want them to be happy. We want them to grow. We want them to learn. We want them to be independent. We want them all of this stuff, which is a good thing. But we got to realize it blows their head up. And I've seen this when I taught international students. When I was at the college and I had international students. Every one of my international students thought they were better than everybody else from their country because they were in America going to school. They all had these gigantic heads because, look at me, my family is so rich, I got shipped to America to go to college. So I know it, seen it, done it. If you're going to go down that road, John, and everybody else with the Filipinos, you got to realize if you bring them to America, which I'm not saying not to do or to do, I think each individual case has to be sussed out. You got to be wary of the fact that you're going to go down a road that you may wake up one day and go, well, gee, this didn't go as well as I thought. Now, maybe that's okay with you. Who knows? I was talking to somebody the other day. A guy messaged me, said that he's my age, you know, which you guys all know I'm 21. He's my age, and I guess some girl in the Philippines who was 23 or 24, and he sent me pictures of her, and yeah, she's smoking hot, you know, no question about it. And he's my age, maybe a year older than I am, and he was asking me questions. How do I know if she's real? How do I know this? How do I know that? All of those typical questions. And I asked him, I said, now, are you going to go live in the Philippines or are you going to bring her here? And that was his big dilemma. He's like, well, one, he wasn't that far along yet. He hadn't even been to the Philippines yet to meet her. But I told him that's going to be your biggest decision. And I mean biggest because that's going to impact your life the most. Are you going to stay in the Philippines and embrace that culture, that lifestyle, so that your wife stays who she is and you have to adapt? Like we were talking about earlier, as Tim was talking about, and Dennis, we have to lower ourselves we do lower ourselves to the environment. So a lot of guys can do that. A lot of guys who drink a lot, they're good in the Philippines or Thailand or wherever else, as long as they're drinking because they don't care, that's all they want. Remember, I've talked about this, alcohol. My brother's an alcoholic. I know how this works. As long as you got alcohol, you're good. You could give a shit. You could live in a trash can, but as long as you got alcohol, you're good. So foreign countries, third world countries are really good for alcoholics. They are. The women are accepting of them, won't reject them. You know, take them in, make them their husbands or wives or whatever the hell they are. You know, take their money, live off of it. They're living a better life with the drunk than without the drunk. We've seen it 100 times on YouTube. So that's the question. Are you going to try to elevate her? Because here's one thing I will say, because, you know, I have mixed thoughts. I think deeply about things. I don't think it's appropriate to bring a girl to America who's never been to a first, like Australia would be fine. Germany, England, not a big deal. But somebody from Jamaica, the DR, you know, Brazil, Honduras, the Philippines, Malaysia. I think you got to be really careful about splitting that, the concept of keeping them who they are and not turning them into an American. You don't want them to become an American woman, right? You don't want that. But you don't want to stifle them. You don't want to be the asswipe that controls their wives. And we know, look, I got some guys around here that are some creepy dudes. I know some American guys who are married to Filipinas right here in our own community who they should be on the SA registry. There is something not good with these men. And I'm telling you, I don't know their background, but I've been around people enough to know. I watch behavior. I listen to nuances. There's some men around here that are disturbing, worse than I am, right? Worse than I am. And they like to truly micromanage, squash, keep that thumb on that woman, make them pretty much a prisoner, you know, a slave in America. So none of that is correct. None of that is correct. You want them to be a free human being, but you don't want them to become an American, but you also don't want to make them a slave. So you have to figure out what your best option is, whether you stay in the Philippines or go to the Philippines, or you bring them to the United States. I think if I was in a lot of you guys' situation, like Tim's smart, he's staying in the Philippines. He's set up, he's good, he's comfortable. Somebody like Pat, I know Pat's physical abilities and his health, and I've recommended to Pat that he doesn't live there. That if he gets remarried again to a Filipina, that they should do it here. So you got to factor in all of those things in your decision. One, can you handle being, I consider it bored in the Philippines? Can you handle that? And I know we all think we could. I thought it would be great to go and do nothing in the Philippines until I went into the Philippines and did nothing. I thought it'd be great. This is great. I won't have to do shit. Yeah, well, that bummed me out pretty quick. Short leash in America. You do. And I know that sounds bad terminology, that we have to keep them on a short leash. I know it. It sounds bad. I think what it is, and this is where I was going earlier about, is the Filipino group community toxic? Because I think overexposing them to letting them run wild in those community groups, so to speak, having autonomy, just letting them go do all the time, is the worst thing you can do. Because I think those groups are toxic. They have toxicity in them. They like to poison each other. And I don't even know if they know they're doing this. They like to poison each other so that they can be at a higher status. They want to cause drama within themselves, get everybody jealous of each other, make everybody mad at each other, get them fighting each other, all of this stuff. I don't know if they stop and think, hey, this is what I'm doing. I don't think they do that. I think they get into that social situation and go on, I want to talk the loudest at the table. Oh, somebody has a cute little dog. My dog is in the doghouse, by the way. my dog is in trouble and somebody's walking their cute little dog in my yard. I want that dog. I'm going to trade you, Lily, get rid of you and get a better dog. Somebody's walking this cute little weird dog. Unfortunately, many church-going groups can be they can. And a church group is one of the worst. I'm going to say this, and this may offend people, but you know me, I don't care. Organized church groups is some of the worst. They are. They will nitpick at people, point out people's flaws, and go after them. They will gossip to the high hell. They will attack and demean, and they will get together. And look, and we had a situation, oh God. Somebody told me a long time ago, here's the thing. At the community college where I taught, let's say 70% of the instructors in my division were females, 30% were men. These females had more arguments and more pissing contests with each other than you could ever imagine. There is always drama among the female instructors in the different disciplines. You would hear, oh, so-and-so this, so-and-so that, So, I thought it was funny because a friend of mine told me one day, he's like, here's what's funny about this situation we had going on at the college this one time. He's like, what he had learned is men, you could take two men and you could take two women who hate each other. So you take two women who hate each other, you can move them 1,000 miles apart and they're still going to cause chaos, destruction, and havoc and want to, destroy each other. 1,000 miles apart. You could take two men who hate each other. You could put them on machinery, like milling machines, right next to each other. And they could work together like that for 20 years and never speak a word to each other. But they secretly hate each other. And nobody would know the two men hate each other. But everybody in God's creation would know the two females hated each other. 1,000 miles apart. I thought that was a really interesting concept. And that helped me understand women a little bit better. It really did. And helped me understand men too a little bit better. And yeah, I guess that's true. There's a lot of men I didn't like that I worked with, but I never bothered to go out of my way. In fact, one of my greatest strengths at the college was I minded my own business. So when somebody came into my office and in my territory trying to cause shit, I would say, you came to me. You started this, get out. So Tim likes that. Very, very true. So I think that's an interesting concept. And I think they do that here. They like to fight with each other. And there's a lot of women here that are really good women individually. They're great people. But you put them into a collective, like at a church, and they want to destroy the effing world. They want to go ape shit crazy. I don't understand it. I mean, I do understand it, but I don't understand it, if you know what I mean. So I don't know, but we'll see. So yeah, that's the big question for all of y'all. What should you do? Hindsight's 20/20, all of that, so I don't know, but we'll see. But I told this guy, it was where I was going with a lot of this, this older guy my age who has some cute little 23-year-old 90-pound girl going, ooh, baby, 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 you're my man. I told him, to be honest, and you guys all heard this, what do you think that girl wants with you? And if she found somebody better, would she dump you in a heartbeat? And I asked him that. I said, I want you to sit and think about this. You're my age. She's a third of our age. You have good money, but not great money, but you have okay money. If some 40-year-old came along with better money, no matter what you guys look like or how you behaved, would she dump you for something better? And he's like, yeah, I think she would. And I said, well, there's your answer. Yes. Pat agrees. Yes, Tim, well, you're single too. You got a girlfriend, but you're still single. Stay single like Dennis. Dennis the Menace is single. And in a lot of ways, I agree with that philosophy. I think a lot of men do better in life generally, happier in life, if they are single. Well, Filipinas want financial stability, absolutely. And I'm going to do a little video about, let me make a note on that. I need to add that to my video. Money, stability. When I was on a live stream the other day, something hit me about similar to that. And I want to make a little talking head video about that on a short or something. But they do. They want, and we all do that. I want that. I don't have it, Tim. So I don't have financial security. How do I get that? I'm trying to suck up to all of you on the internet, the whole entire world. I'm e-begging Mr. Beast or whatever his name is, or Elon Musk to please come and give me some money. So, be back in a while. All right, Tim. Jamie's in the house. Woohoo! Say hello to Unbothered Avocado. Miss Avocado is in the house. Cleaning the kitchen, watching from the background. So much, can't talk much. That's all right, I understand. So, I do, Jamie, we understand. You know my channels, I rant and rave, so a lot. But, Ken is saying, hello, Jamie. Jamie, good to see you. Hello, Jamie. So, that's just part of life. Does everybody, do we live in a world, a society, and has it always been this way where people just want to take what they can get from you? So, do we only do it for financial gains? Is that part of what I do on my, or is this all we do in life? Ken saying hello. Jamie said, hi, Ken, good to see you. Ken, how did your job interview go the other day? Did you have any luck with the modeling gig you were trying out for? Ken told me he was modeling for Playboy or Playgirl or whichever one those were. Geriatric, no, it was, Ken, wasn't it Geriatric Boy or something or whatever? We made it funny. Pat said, hello, Jamie, good to see you. Everybody say, hey, we hope the babies are doing good. Hoping the babies are doing good. Yes. I got some good pictures of my friend's baby and their dog. Or my dog. My dog's in the doghouse, by the way. My dog's in trouble. Ken says, nopers, I didn't get the modeling job after all. Well, I told you should have mentioned my name. You should have said, hey, I know this guy here. He's famous. Applied today for a driving job in the next little city town from me. Well, Ken, I don't know, to be honest. Did you ever think about like doing the DoorDash or the Ubering stuff? Charles Sanders down in Texas, he does that. He works at Amazon full time and then he does DoorDash and Ubering also. And I think you can make decent money, not a shitload of money, but I think you can do okay. I need to look into that a little bit. I wouldn't do it because I'd probably kill everybody because, I'm not a nice guy. But we got to, Lorelai, when we go on our cruise, they moved our flight. So our coming home flight now doesn't get into the XNA airport, our home airport, until midnight. Now, you got to remember, even though we live in a white, rich community, Northwest Arkansas, we're the home of everybody, the streets still roll up about 10 o'clock around here, So now we got to figure out who's going to come pick us up at the airport like at 12:30, We were going to be getting home about 9 and we had somebody scheduled to pick us up. But now we got to refigure out who's going to pick us up in the middle of the night. Applied today for the driving job. Hope it all works out for you, Ken. Yes, good luck. Yes, yes. Remember to show that chest hair. When I want things, I just give them a little bit of chest hair. And it seems to go very well. Just saying, it might work for you. Ken says, thank you there, Miss Avocado. Jamie, thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. But yeah, I don't know how any of that works, to be honest, with the driving stuff. Now, one thing I was telling, was it you, Ken? I was telling somebody, shit, about driving for the Amish. Ken, here's a tip for you. I don't know. I was just telling somebody this. We have a friend. I know a person here. We have an Amish community up in Missouri. They live up in Missouri. That they drive for the Amish, and they do pretty well. And you're like, well, what do you mean? Well, the Amish doesn't drive, and there's times that they need to go far distances. For instance, my friend took a group of them from Missouri to Pennsylvania and made a really nice paycheck. They paid all the expensive, blah, 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 and all of that, but she made a really good profit at the end of the day, taking this 3 or 4 people up to Pennsylvania so they could spend 4 or 5 months at that group in Pennsylvania. Also, driving them to places where they just can't take the horse and buggy, where it's easier. So they hire an English person to do the driving for them. And from what I understand, everybody, the 2 people that I know that have done this love it. 1, they get paid good, but 2, the people are really nice to them. They don't cause them any shit. They don't smoke in their car. They don't drink in their car, all that good stuff. And they're nice people. So you might be able to look out for that somewhere in your community where you guys are, Ken, seriously. So the Amish needs English to do some driving. You're very welcome. Keith is back in the house. Keith, hopefully I didn't offend you earlier. Keith is dropping his link. I was trying to give Keith some advice about his YouTube channel, and I didn't know if I scared him off because maybe I offended him. But you guys all know that I'm very straightforward, Keith is dropping the link to his channel. Excellent. Anyone who wants to follow? Maybe the other way to say it is, Keith, is there anybody out there that wants me to lead you? Here's my link. Welcome back. Thank you. Big John says, that's a job for me. It may be, Big John, but I got 2 friends that do it here. They live right across the border. We don't live far from Missouri. But that's what they do. They don't do it every day, but they make they're retired, and they make some good money doing it. They do also hire English people to do other things, like when they need deliveries and things like that. There's different things. So maybe you can reach out to those communities. I don't know. No, I had to eat dinner. You were helping me. Good. Thank you, Keith. Well, I hope it helps. It was meant to be constructive. Absolutely. Drive that train home, buddy. The other thing I would do, Keith, is I would look at all the other train YouTube channels and see who's the biggest and figure out what they do that people like. But John, maybe, I don't know. But Ken, in your part of the world, you're up in Indiana, you're close to that part of the world. Anytime. So, but that might be the type of work. But they do that. They've taken them, into, I don't know. But it works, and they're very happy with it. I guess, anymore we can't drive for Domino's, can we? Or can we do driving for Domino's and deliver pizza? Is that even a thing anymore? I know that back when I was, a youngster, you could be a pizza delivery driver. I know they have those. Deliver newspapers. There's also these people that, which I don't know, they don't do newspapers anymore. Man, I'm getting old. What about medical deliveries? I know another guy that does medical deliveries, and he goes around and delivers medical supplies to, he works for the Mercy system, and he's based here. So he goes from one clinic to the other clinic, dropping things off, or to the hospital, pick it up and dropping off things. That's all he does all day long. He just runs back and forth, around and around, picks this up, takes it over here. That's all he does. I'm outside sitting, relaxing on the front porch, just finished eating dinner. Well, that's nice of you to have dinner without us, Patrick. Patrick, you got to understand, we're all going to remember. Remember, Patrick. Ooh, as Summer says, I got to go vacuum, so I'll be right back. Would you come to my house and vacuum? I need a vacuum. Summer, we appreciate you. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing to the channels and ours. And we'll make sure people support you as long as we support everybody else. Back says, okie dokie, Summer, we get you. We get you. Vacuuming. I hate to vacuum, but we need a vacuum. Domino's still has delivery drivers. See, I'm too cheap to pay because now they want you to pay extra money. Around here, they want you to, maybe that's right. They want me to pay a delivery fee of $3 plus a tip. And we don't buy pizza very much. But when I do, I just go get it. It's not very far from my house. So I just go and get it at the drive-through window. Because I'm not going to, for a $10 pizza, spend another $7 or $8 in gratuities and delivery fees. I'll just drive over there and get it. But medical deliveries might be a good thing. But Domino's, we had somebody that worked at the college, believe it or not, that they did nothing but they delivered stuff. In the mail services, we had a mail operator, a director of mail services. Then we had a secondary employee that did nothing but went out and delivered things throughout the campus. So those are type of jobs that are out there too. There's also a lot of security guards jobs out there that are not bad security jobs. We had security people working at our college. They basically didn't do a whole lot and got paid decent. From, a lot of things you can do. A lot of things out there. We were talking about, maybe we were talking about my wife's sister. Maybe that was what we were doing the other day. Because she's back in the Philippines now. Her 3-year contract's up. We don't know what they're going to do for money, but we've closed our wallet. And she was whining and bitching to my wife about how hard the job market is in the Philippines. And she's like, oh, but she always says it's so easy for us in America. My wife's sister is so big on saying, oh, you people are so privileged, it's so easy for you. Well, look, as I've said, we all could get a job tomorrow. You can go to Walmart and get hired tomorrow. It's going to be a shit job. It's going to suck, but you can get a job tomorrow. But it's not going to be a good job. It's not going to be a high-paying job. It's not going to be a job you want. But if you want a job, you can get it tomorrow. Much better to go get it last time. I had to deliver here. It cost $50. Yeah. See, you don't want to do that. You don't want a big, yeah. You're paying more for the delivery and the tips than you pay for the pizza. And, because in the Philippines, they got 2 kids. One's graduated, trying to find an IT job. The others are I don't know what they're doing in the Philippines. I don't. But we're not opening up the wallet. We're not. We're done doing that with that family. We support some other children through schools in the Philippines, but we're not doing that anymore. We're done. They rejected us. Good. So to call witch and mine and cry about how hard it is to get a job in the Philippines, well, she could have been in America 2 more years. She could have got one of her kids through nursing school. We would have paid for it. They could have came to America as a nurse, as a permanent resident, brought the rest of the family over, and they all could have got good paying jobs living in America. But her ego was so effing big that she's like, no, I don't want anybody to claim they paid for my kid to go to college. All right, well, there you are. Now you're sitting at home unemployed without money coming in. You got a house full of people and no money. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when the electric man calls you and says, hey, baby, pay me? So, but we don't do DoorDash or anything like that. But we don't eat a lot of food out. And one thing that we have found since we've been trying to eat out less and less and less, unless it's like a nice restaurant, when we do eat out, it doesn't sit well with us. If you don't eat fast food and you go eat fast food, you realize how gross it is. And we're kind of that point. We don't eat out a lot, but if we do, maybe we'll go and sit down at a restaurant and do, because we know we'll get better service, better food. But going through a drive-through, Jimmy John's sandwiches are fine. I got a free sandwich coming to me. I need to go get my free sandwich. Sandwiches, you can't screw up too bad. And I do like Jimmy John sandwiches, even though our Jimmy John in here won't give me one. So, but yeah, there's a lot you can do. But I agree, Patrick. Why would you want to pay that kind of money? Just go get it. Just go get it. I'm not going to do it. I don't even like, I mean, I don't know, man. It just crazes me how much we're supposed to tip everybody for everything. It's going to shock me. One of these days, you're going to get pulled over. You're going to get pulled over by the police. They're going to give you a ticket, and then in the ticket is going to have a place for you to tip. The Curlin Family Adventures, good morning. Are you still over in Dubai? They got a great channel, you guys. Check them out. Nice couple. Even though he's from Texas, if I remember right, we can live with that. Now, so you guys all say hello to them and subscribe to them if you haven't done that, please. They got a bigger channel than mine, but still, let's go support them and help them grow. But they're good people. You can tell they're good people by watching their stuff. So I encourage you to support them. Pat says, I agree with you. Hello, Zandy. Good to see you. Yes. Hello, Patrick. Good to see you. So you guys still over in the Dubai area? Or are you back in the Philippines? Or what you guys doing? They're traveling right now because they're fancy people. They had to go over to Europe, or not Europe, the United Emirates, and hang out. They got some great videos of the city walking, streets, the lights. I feel bad because sometimes I tell American jokes and they go right over Filipina's heads. And the other day, I kind of did one with Zandy about, it's so bright outside, I got to wear shades at night because that's from a song from the 80s. My future is so bright, I got to wear shades at night type of thing. But still in Dubai, yes, outstanding. But... Oh, my dog. My dog's in the doghouse. My dog's in trouble. But, I don't know. But I did another one. I just forgot it. I had another funny one that I told my friend James to do when he was talking to a Filipina at a restaurant in California. And it went over like a lead balloon. So, lead balloons is what happens. But they're in Dubai hanging out, having a good time. So you guys support their channel if you would, please. So John, everybody, you guys will like them. They're good people, good channel, unlike mine. So, but yeah, one of these days you're going to get pulled over by the police. And when they give you the ticket, they're going to give you a thing that says, would you like to tip? Would you like to tip me for my service of pulling you over, and giving you a ticket? That's what I expect. I really do. I expect the nurses to start coming into your rooms when you're in the hospital and giving you a little pad. I'm getting off shift. Would you like to tip before I go? Oh my God. My wife told me today that I need to go to the doctor. And I told her, I said, I'm sick of the doctors. I'm sick of chasing a dragon that doesn't exist. I'm not ever going to get any better. So keep going to the doctor, chasing a dragon that doesn't exist. I'm tired of that. So not going to the doctor. Not going to do it. I do need to call to figure out why my annual heart checkup has been canceled. I think my doctor fired me. Maybe that's what happened. But yeah. And then the delivery fee on top of it is like the air conditioning fee. Yeah, whatever, the facilities fee. There's a lot of restaurants in America now that charges you a facility fee. You guys may not realize this is what's happening. But a lot of restaurants are charging you between 3 and 5% to dine into their restaurant. You understand that? A lot of places are charging you 3 to 5% on your bill for being inside of their restaurant. That's why the state of Florida has passed a law explaining and stating that it had to be in easily accessible, readable print on the menus, on the apps, on the website, everywhere, that you have to disclose that you're charging 3 to 5% to come into this restaurant. On top of your bill. That's crazy to me. The thought that I got to give somebody 3 to 5% more money because I came into your restaurant. Well, how else am I going to get? Do you not want business? This is what I don't understand about America. Do you guys not want business? Why do you run people off? We were talking about Walmart the other night, right? Where Walmart, for instance, they used to have door greeters. And the door greeters would say, hello, welcome to Walmart. Thank you for shopping with us. Now, everybody at Walmart acts like they want to kill you, that you're taking up space. Yeah, Ken, I don't like that either. But it's all over, apparently, Florida and other states. And I didn't realize this until Florida had to pass a law about this. But it's been going on in quite a while. It's kind of like the same concept. A lot of convenience stores and gas stations, which is illegal apparently. If you have a debit card and you pay for your gas, they're trying to charge you 3 to 5% on top of that on a debit card. So what they do on your credit card is they want to pass along the credit card charge at a convenience store. So you go in and buy a Coke, it's $2. The credit card company may want 3% for using their credit card. So now it's $2, and 6 cents or whatever. That's what your bill is, and plus tax and everything else. But what you can't do is assess that 3% on a debit card. But there's places doing it all over. They're collecting that money, pocketing it, because there is no Discover or Visa or credit card waiting for that money. So there is nobody saying, yes, give me that 3%. When you use your Discover, Discover is telling them, yes, give me 3%. So now the bad thing is, if you do enough volume, Discover Card doesn't charge your business. If you do enough volume, like Walmart, places like that, Discover says, we like your business so much, we're not assessing a fee. Yes, but I thought it could not be done on the debit card. Well, it can't be done on the debit cards. No, debit cards, absolutely not. And that's what I mean. A credit card, a true credit card, but a Visa debit card, a check debit card, that's correct. They cannot charge that. Now, the restaurants, doesn't matter. If you're paying cash, debit card, or credit card, they're charging you a facilities fee. It has nothing to do with your method of payment. They're charging you for coming into their building and sitting down at their chair, is what they say. It's a facilities fee. So, but when you go to a gas station, they can't legally charge your debit card that 3%. But a lot of companies and gas station chains do it, and they're making millions of dollars off of us because we don't know that they can't charge our debit card. And the people running the Shell gas station, they probably don't know either. They're just doing whatever they're told to do, and they're not getting the kickback, but the corporation's getting that kickback. So that's how that's working. Crazy, right? So they want to charge you 3 to 5% just to sit down in their effing restaurant. Well, if you got to, do you have your operational cost so screwed up, right, that you have to do that? Or are you just being greedy and slipping a fee in when nobody knew about it? And that was what's happening in Florida. That's why the lawsuits came in. They were doing this secretly. And places were making millions of dollars because people didn't know that they were being charged an extra 3 to 5% just for being in the restaurant. And so that's where, when people started looking, the lawsuits came in Florida. They were slipping it in under the table. We didn't know any better. But now we know better. And so we got to watch that. And they're posted on their doors as you come in, the facilities fee, all of that stuff, And it's pretty shady and shitty, but we at the college did this years ago. They couldn't raise tuition at the college I taught at because the state mandated the amount of tuition. But they wanted more money to build a parking garage. They couldn't raise tuition to do it. So you know what they did? They made and I was in these meetings and I voted against it, but they voted for every student now to pay a $5 facilities fee. That's how they raised tuition without raising tuition. They got more than they ever wanted in money to build a damn parking garage. They never took away the facilities fee. So today, they still pay a $5 facilities fee per semester. on every student that comes through, online or in person. And that was the other big issue was, if these students never show up to our campus, how can they use, well, no, they're using our electricity because of the internet, blah, 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 blah. It was just a scam. And I called them out on it. It didn't do any good. You know, I just got looked at like a troublemaker, which is probably normal for me. So, but it's crazy. So you guys all got to be aware of some of this crap out there. You got to really look at things. We all got to do better at looking at things. So, all right, my friends, it's not going on 9 o'clock my time. Time for me to wind this down, get off of here. I'm going to try to do some morning live streams this week. So you guys hit that alert bell. Make sure you catch us on that. But we're going to try to do some morning live streams, evening live streams, because I got some more work I want to do. But I got to get my headspace right. So I appreciate everybody coming in. Ken, Curlin Family Adventures, great channel. Patrick, great channel. Big John, good guy. Patrick, still here. Summer Panay has a good channel. Tim is in the house. He has a channel. Everybody, Jamie's in the house. Thank Jamie and her babies. So we had a lot of other people. Old Head was here. Keith is here. So everybody say goodbye to each other. We appreciate you guys all being here. Dennis was even in the house until he found some cute arm candy and ran off to South America. So you guys all say goodbye to each other and watch out for our live streams. And we'll see you in the mornings. We're going to do some how to grow our YouTube world and how to grow social media in the mornings. So appreciate it, Ken, Patrick, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Jamie, take care of the babies. And we'll see you guys all later on.